I'm Aaron, a birding naturalist. Welcome back to another video. Spring is in the air, in the northern hemisphere at least, and that means that birds are breeding, which includes laying eggs. So I thought it'd be a great time to talk about egg coloration. So, this is a chicken egg. This is also a chicken egg. Those two eggs do not look the same. Why is that? Well, it has to do with the coloration that an egg gets on its shell. So, let's talk about egg formation a little bit, and then let's really dive into egg coloration. Eggs form in the reproductive tract of a female bird, and they're laid down in layers. You can kind of imagine an egg being built up from the inside out. So first, the yolk is formed, then the albumen, the white, is formed, some membranes are formed, last, the shell is formed. So the shells of an egg are mostly made of calcium and are laid down as a layer on top of the rest of the egg by these very specialized structures called shell glands. Shell glands are what forms the shell itself, but also what adds on the coloration and any patterning that the egg is going to have. All of the shell and color and patterning is all applied in the last couple of hours before an egg is laid. So it's the very last step, the very last thing that happens right before an egg is laid. Interestingly, the colors of eggs in nature are really only made by two different pigments. Some pigments are called protoporphyrin, and they are what make the sort of browns and reds. Another color called biliverdin is responsible for the blues and maybe greens that some eggs display. And of course, if no egg coloration, no egg pigments are applied at all, you end up with a white egg. Now, how much of each of these pigments is laid down impacts the strength, sort of vibrancy of the color, and also the variations of the color, and also the patterning. So specific spots might get a lot more color, and that's what makes a darker speckle, for example. Some eggs are heavily speckled. Some eggs have stripes or lines. Some eggs are only speckled on one part of an egg and white on the rest. Some eggs are, of course, entirely white. There's a huge variation that can be found in the colorations across the birds of the world. And it's interesting to think about sort of some of the impacts and the reasons that colors can change. One thing is diet. Some of the pigments and some of the components of pigments are gained by a bird by what it eats. And so if a bird has a lot of the right kind of food, it'll have a really rich color in its egg. And if a bird has a sort of poorer diet in those particular areas, it might have a paler colored egg. There are also sort of evolutionary things at work. Birds that lay their eggs out in the open generally have more color and more pattern on their eggs to help with camouflage. Whereas birds that lay their eggs, for example, inside of a cavity, where really that egg is never going to be visible practically to anything, they have very few pigments and patterns, and often, in fact, are white eggs. So a whole bunch of different factors come into play, and there's a lot of really interesting biology and theory behind what makes egg colors the way that they are. But however they happen, they are beautiful, fun, and amazing adaptations that evolution has created so that birds can reproduce. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and as always, thank you very much for the view. And until next time, enjoy the natural world.